You gonna stand there and pretend you can't hear the planet crying out in pain? I know you can!
You really hear that?
Damn straight I do!
Get help.
We are not doing Get Help.
Hello everybody and welcome to Pretty Good Gaming. My name is Gareth Evans and I'm joined by Mr. Henry Cooper.
Hello.
Today we are playing the demo of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was announced and launched out of the blue this morning. And so we've quickly downloaded it, updated our PlayStation software because that's always a thing. And yeah, we've got our hands on it and we're playing through it now just to give you a brief taste of what this... I mean, you should all of you should be downloading this right now because it's a free demo.
Support demos, man.
Yeah, and play them. So it's the first kind of mission bit. You've played through it all so far, haven't you?
Yeah, I played it once through, so I'm familiar enough to talk some shit about it. I'm probably going to die in the meantime, but...
No, we'll see. But obviously, for those of you who aren't familiar with this remake or maybe are familiar with the original was completely turn-based, right?
Yeah.
And this is completely different. So it's like a third-person action combat now, whereas previously it was fixed camera. And it was all turn-based. Now it's totally different, and it looks shit hot, basically.
Yeah, like purely visually, it's outstanding. But the main thing you'll notice, which I'm sure most of you are already aware, is that it is completely different in terms of gameplay than the original. And at first glance, it may just look like a hack and slash type thing, and that's just because I'm wasting these fools. Only pressing one button so far, and again that might seem very minimal, but eventually I'll unlock an extra party member, and then things get much more tactical.
But it's stayed very true to the original, right? I mean, there was the opening cutscene was released to YouTube maybe last week or week before, and IGN put it side to side with the original. And although the new one is longer, it obviously looks shit hot compared to the original. But they stayed very true to the original vision of the game, haven't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this remake is only meant to be the first section. It's the Midgar section of the original, which is only like 5 to 10%, and it's about 4 or 5 hours. So this demo is a section of what will be the full game.
That's gotten a lot of people upset by that fact. But,
yeah.
I mean, for me, isn't it a case of it depends how long this game is? Because if they're fleshing everything out in that first 10% of the original game, if the game lasts 50 hours plus, who cares that it's not the whole game?
Exactly, that's the thing. People are struggling to get their head around. And I think that's quite fair because, I mean, it's just not a way of releasing a game that we're really used to. Remaking a game and then doing it in parts. But the plan is apparently that this game, just this part, this 10%, is actually going to be fully fleshed out, and it's going to be the length of a traditional Final Fantasy game. So it's going to be about 40 hours worth of content, extrapolated from that original 4 hours worth of content.
Yeah, I would rather them flesh things out and make things fully realize the potential of the story and the environments and the characters, and just put everything into it, regardless of how long it takes. Because you can imagine them taking another 10 years and only being halfway through this complete remake. So, I mean, I see what people are saying. They want the whole game, but I'd rather it be quality over quantity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I think the big problem is that we just don't know enough. Square Enix hasn't come out and told us how many we should expect, any sort of release schedule. Are we going to have to pay for each individual one? We just don't know enough.
Yeah.
So this is a great bit of the demo, because that's an exact shot which is in the original version, and just seeing that upscaled with this new graphics engine on Unreal Engine it's running on, it's what people have been waiting for years.
It's a complete nostalgia hit for a lot of people, isn't it? I mean, we've both recently played Final Fantasy VII on the Switch, right?
Yeah.
So we're familiar with the original game only recently, and so we can see all the comparisons.
Oh, totally. Like, I missed it the first time around, but then about 20 years later, I've now finished it, and I loved it. It was, very dated, and I'm not really a big fan of turn-based games, but I had a great time playing it because it's got such a good story.
So talk to us about the combat, right? So you're just mashing buttons at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm whacking people with my sword. That's your basic attack, which is all on square, because this is a PlayStation 4 timed exclusive, I think. And then if I can interact with an elevator. And then eventually you get an extra party member, and then you can give commands to them independently, slow down time, and you can like tell them to attack with certain moves, or you can completely take control of them and use their individual skills and abilities.
That sounds cool.
Hopefully we'll get there in a moment. I think it comes up in a sec.
So this is you infiltrate in the first section. So the point, spoiler alert. Well, you've been watching this.
Spoiler alert about a 20-year-old game.
Yeah, it's you're gonna go and try and destroy one of the generators, right?
Yeah, I've got to blow up a reactor because the big evil company in Final Fantasy VII is something called the Shinra Corporation, and they're just like, if there's an evil corporation in fiction, chances are the Shinra Corporation does whatever those other guys do. Yeah. So they harvest what's called Mako energy, which is like the planet's life force, and turn it into electricity. And these guys are called Avalanche, and they are an eco-terrorist group who are going to put a stop to that because the planet's dying and they're not really happy about it.
And we're part of Avalanche, right?
Yeah, Cloud is a mercenary who's working for them, but he's adamant that it's all for money. He doesn't care about the planet, doesn't give a shit about that, he just wants to get paid.
I'm here for money. Money.
Yeah, and we'll see how that turns out because, as with these Final Fantasy games, the story gets very
complicated.
Very deep, very quickly.
So there you would have seen that I just slowed down time to use a potion because it's an RPG, so using items is important. And that time slowdown thing is where the sort of turn-based stuff comes in a bit more, and you'll see that in a sec when I unlock the next party member.
Yeah, I've not seen a game try and merge the action and turn-based, the real-time and turn-based into one. So it's interesting to see how they've achieved this. And from what I've seen so far, it looks like they've like we've already mentioned that they stay true to the original, but it seems to have retained a lot of the regular JRPG sensibilities that you associate with turn-based combat.
Yeah. And a lot of the spirit of the game is there. All of these enemy types are the same enemies we fought before. They're just obviously upscaled and behave slightly differently. But at first glance, as I said, this may look like a hack and slash, like even a Devil May Cry type game, but it is completely different. I'm literally just pressing one button to kill all those guys, and hopefully, in a moment, we'll be able to see some more of the more tactical turn-based type stuff. Okay, so now the game's teaching. We've jumped ahead a little bit. The game's now going to teach me to use what they call Punisher mode, because every character has a default attack which is on square, but then if you activate this alternate attack, it will do something slightly different for each character. So with Cloud, he just gets buffed massively. His speed drops incredibly low, but his attack power is hugely increased, and you can just cut through everyone really fast.
Nice.
Hopefully Barrett is going to... There he is. There's Barrett. Great big Hulk of a man with a giant gun on his arm. That's about all you need to know.
Mr. T, essentially.
Basically. And in the original, he sort of swore, but it wasn't actual swear words. It was like asterisk and at and hash and all that. But in this time, now he's swearing. They're not afraid to throw out a few curse words.
It's all voice acted this time.
Oh,
right?
Fully voice acted, and the script is much better than in the original. Because while I say the original story is really good, some of the writing is cheesy at best and
a bit thin.
Yeah, and downright awful at worst, because it was translated by one guy, so there's actually a few errors in there. Okay, so now Barrett has joined the team. We've jumped ahead a bit again, and he's got much more different combat style because he's got this giant gun on his arm, and I'm shooting for a wall there. So you've got to try and be tactical with him and use him for obviously killing these sentries because Cloud can't reach them. He's only got a big old sword. But while I'm currently getting shot, if I hold down the trigger, I can then issue commands to Cloud, but currently he's not got any of his energy meter available. So we'll switch back to Cloud, and then you tell Barrett to use one of his spells. So use Thunder, which is obviously a lightning spell, and that's really useful against robots. So he'll do that on his own. Boom. There you go.
Ha-boom. Do you have to switch away from Barrett to be able to do that?
Oh, no, he can do it by himself. He just didn't... I thought I'd show you off how to do it in the more turn-based way. Yeah. So Barrett's special move, the extra move, because Cloud had the buff ability to make him stronger. Barrett has just a really powerful blast he does, which takes time to build up. And then if you see on the right, we've got a few different health bars and stuff. So there's health bars, and then your ATB bar, which I just told Cloud to do a special move from. That ATB bar fills up as you use normal attacks, and then eventually you'll be able to use a much more powerful attack.
That's just special, right?
Something more like that.
So what's the MP or the one on the bottom left?
MP is your magic power, so that's how you can do magic abilities, and I think I'm going the wrong way.
So you use that by casting spells and stuff?
Yeah, casting spells, like you can use healing spells, fiery spells, whatever. I need a potion. There we go, much better. So now we've got a sort of puzzle type thing, which we didn't really have in the original. Just simple, it's not exactly complicated. Step through the lasers when they're not on.
Yeah.
But it's another thing where they've just fleshed things out a little bit more.
Boom.
Got zapped, knew it.
I mean, you did say it was simple, and you still got caught by it.
I mean, I'm busy chatting away. Yeah, give me a break here.
Try and pat your head and rub your belly at the same time.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm interested to see how much more like environmental puzzles that they've brought in, because there was certain part, there was where you had to climb up all the pipes, in the thing, where there was an area, I can't remember, it's just at the back of like the where you're climbing up the wall and it was just like falling down or whatever. I can't remember the area, but there was definitely an element of trying to figure out how to get past kind of environmental puzzles in the original. So how they've kind of how they've kind of shoehorned that into this game, because obviously we can see there that they're here, but they've got more potential with this 3D environment now to be able to do something interesting with that.
And more freedom of movement and everything, rather than being a turn-based format. Because obviously in the original you could move normally, but I think there's a lot more verticality this time. There's climbing up ladders and hopping over objects and that sort of stuff. Right, so let's activate this Punisher mode, which will slow me down but allow me to do a lot more damage. And that's just teaching me about staggering, which is that bar underneath the sweeper's health bar. It's called pressured, which means we're like almost there. But once we got him fully staggered, like in most RPGs, you can do a bunch of extra damage really, really nicely.
Beautiful. So this guy's like a mini boss type thing. What's that orange bar underneath his?
Yeah, that's his stagger bar. So now he's staggered. We'll hit him with a bigger attack, which will, as you see, will drain my ATB, which is the blue one. And that fills up just by using normal attacks. Let's fire a focus thrust at him in this time. See, he's going down really fast. So this guy's not really a boss. He's just like, your first introduction with him is on his own. But then after that, next time you see him, he might be with other people and be even more of a dick.
Got you. How would you say the AI is with your companions with this? Are they capable if you just leave them on their own?
Yeah, Barrett seems to be minding his own business, although now he's got stuck under a giant robot's foot, which is great news.
But I don't seem to be using their specials very much. I mean, the ATB bar is full, but it's up to you to use that.
Yeah, he'll use his normal attacks, but if I want him to do something more sophisticated, I'll have to go into his and tell him to do, let's use focus shot, and this hopefully should finish it off. Boom. What a flashy finish.
There you go. So I'm interested to see if you can set your companions modes to be able to be a bit more
aggro or something.
Yeah, exactly. Just to be go do with the things themselves rather than have you micromanage them the whole time, because you can imagine people just wanted to play this as a single, just as a single character rather than play as a group. But I don't know whether, I know purists will be screaming at them and saying, it's a bloody group game.
That's not how you play it. Well, there are other characters like Aerith or Aerith, depending on which version you're playing. She's not very good at attacking because she's a defensive character, she's a healer, so you don't really want to be using her on the front lines. So if you can get her to just I'm kind of sitting on Jessie there.
Just support,
if you can just get her as a support character from the back and maybe fire spells from long range, then that's fine. So again, we've jumped ahead a little bit here, and this is where Barrett and Cloud are going to apply an explosive to the reactor, and then something more spectacular might happen.
We'll see.
Go on, do the honors. Prove to me you're the man Tifa says you are. That you're one of us.
Never said I was. I'm just here for the paycheck.
Then do the damn job!
So this is one of Cloud's sort of flashback mental things going on, because there's a lot more to him than than meets the eye. He's more than just an edgy guy with an edgier hairstyle.
What's wrong?
I'm fine. What about the timer?
Your call, Merc.
And now we've got the option, which I don't think we had in the original. I don't remember doing it anyway. Where you can set how long you want to set the timer for. I'm going to set it for 20 minutes. I can make it out of here in 20 minutes.
Pretty cocky, ain't you?
And last time he said, "Oh, you're really going to need that much time," or something, you know.
You double-crossing!
Heads up!
What in the hell?
Now this is the first boss you fight in the original game, and it's what it looks like. It's a great big robot scorpion.
I think we've seen gameplay of this boss battle before.
Yeah.
In some of the preview footage from the game. But I mean, how does it feel to play now? Is it how you thought it would feel like to play?
Yeah, it's so much more active. These rockets that he's about to fire are the most annoying thing in the world, because they can just hit you from wherever. But yeah, it's a reasonably sort of challenging fight. Like, it's not super hard, but it will you will take damage, and it will, you know, hit you a good few times.
Yeah, and it's about managing that damage and healing yourself. And just being on top of things. Really.
Yeah, it's not just about tanking all the damage you can. You got to, you know,
pay attention to what's happening.
Yeah, and all of your party members, because they can all get knocked out, and then you'll have to revive them, and it's just going to be a nightmare for you. Oh, see? No, Jesus, Cloud is actually dead. So we're going to have to revive him. That didn't happen last time. That's not very good.
Well,
he's over there in the corner crying like a little wimp. So hopefully I've got an item I can use. Felix down. There we go. Thank God. Let's revive Cloud. Get up, you little pussy. And I believe Barrett has the healing spell, which is going to be super useful.
We barely scratched the damn thing.
Didn't I tell you to use magic?
Thought you were full of shit.
Think whatever you want. Just do it.
Obviously, we advise anybody who is interested in this to just go and try it out themselves, because, like I said, this is a free demo available for all right now. So if this looks like it interests you, I mean, if you did love the original, it's a must. Obviously, it does look great, and going off Henry's impressions of how it plays pretty good too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is different. Fundamentally, it is very different, and it might not be what you would expect from a remake of a game that's over 2 decades old, because it's so much more than just visuals. They've expanded a lot, but it's definitely worth a look, especially if you are a fan, and even if you're not a fan. Just to be part of one of the most anticipated games ever. Even before it was announced, people were always itching for, when's Final Fantasy VII getting a remake, blah 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 blah. So people are finally getting it, and I'm having a great time.
Well, there you go. We'll let you get on with it, and we will leave you to it, and we will leave the audience to go and try it out for themselves. Let us know what you thought about all of the Final Fantasy stuff down in the comments. Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? Are you more excited for it now, having seen it? Are you less excited about it now at all, for any reason? Let us know all your thoughts and everything down in the comments below. That's it for today. Looks like Henry's getting there with the Scorpion anyway. We will see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.
The hell is that?
A barrier? Never seen this defense system before.
Thought you were the expert.
So what's your brilliant plan, genius?
It's my time to shine.